Academic conferences offer numerous benefits, including networking opportunities, career advancement, exposure to state-of-the-art research, and the chance to present your own work for feedback and recognition. However, modern conferences have serious problems. They can be unreasonably expensive and time-consuming. They can be overcrowded and have dozens of parallel sessions. The content can be repetitive, boring, and overwhelming. Some presenters might struggle to capture attention, particularly during poster sessions. This leads to a limited impact that one single researcher can potentially make at a conference. Also, as a business, some conferences are more concerned about their revenue than social responsibility and sustainability. In this video, we will try to understand the problems of academic conferences and discuss what we can do about them. Hi everyone, my name is Andrey. I'm a researcher at Imperial College London, and this is my second video about academic conferences. In the previous video, we considered the bright side of academic conferences and discussed their benefits. Today, we will focus on the dark side, and I will talk about serious problems that academic conferences have. Maybe I'm a perfectionist, but whenever I travel to an academic conference, I have these thoughts about the whole process, and I'm thinking, are we doing this in the optimal and efficient way, or are we simply wasting our resources, and what can be improved about academic conferences? So for today's video, I prepared a long list of problems, things that I don't really like, and not only I want to complain about this and discuss negative things, but I also want to offer some advice and solutions, and especially for students and young researchers, about how we can avoid problems of academic conferences and how we can improve them. So let's begin. The first point I want to discuss today is the problem of limited impact. Perhaps this is the biggest and most painful problem personally for me. You see, when I travel to a conference, I usually travel to another country. Sometimes I travel half the world just to present for 15 minutes, and then I have like 3 minutes for questions and answers. In some conferences, you have even less time, 12 minutes for presentation, maybe 10 minutes for presentation. This is very little, you know. Yes, maybe you will have a few meaningful discussions with a few people after your presentation, but that's about it, and that's why I'm thinking, are we running conferences in an efficient manner? I prepared multiple stories for you to prove that the impact of conferences is limited, so I want to share these stories with you first, and then maybe we can draw some conclusions. And the first story that I want to show you is from 2019, where I attended IEEE PowerTech conference in Milan. You see, I worked hard to attend this conference and to prepare my manuscript, and therefore I had a lot of expectations from the event. I expected to participate in heated academic discussions. I wanted to get feedback about my paper from the best researchers in the field, etc. My problem was, however, that I didn't quite get this. And I want to show you some photos from this event to explain what was my problem with this impact. Here is the Facebook page of this conference. You can see PowerTech Milano 2019. And I found many photos showing how the event looked like, and actually I want to show you this first photo. This is a poster session where I participated. You cannot see me on the photo because I am far behind the people presenting my poster somewhere. I like this photo because it really shows what the poster session looked like, and to me this was a complete chaos. There were so many people walking, talking, eating, shouldering each other. I mean, it was difficult for me to focus on my poster and to talk to other attendees. And that's why the impact of my presentation was quite limited. I mentioned in my previous video that I don't quite like poster sessions, and I believe that this particular picture is a great example of this problem. The session was very noisy, overcrowded, hundreds of people presented their posters at the same time, and it was difficult in all this chaos to get a meaningful scientific discussion. Let me show you some more photos. You can see kind of the same thing in other photos. So some people are drinking and eating because the food was served nearby. Some people were discussing posters or just chatting. So as I said, all of that was quite chaotic to me. Now take a look at this photo. So one researcher is presenting the poster and others are listening. Now what I want you to pay attention to is this person on the left with the timer. Do you know why they have timer in their hands? Well, the rule of the conference was that you must attend it physically. So you need to apply for the conference in advance, you get accepted, and you attend it physically. If you don't attend it physically, your paper will be rejected and you will not get your publication. So how can they check in all this chaos if you are presenting or not? Well, they had some special session chiefs, and they were walking with the timer from poster to poster, telling you, okay, now you have 3 minutes, tell me about your poster. So they are measuring the time, giving you these few minutes to talk about your poster, and then they tick your name in the list, which means that you participated and your paper will be published. And as you can see, other researchers, they're just standing and watching at your 3-minute presentation. And I think this was quite odd and strange to me, because again, yes, I present for 3 minutes because I have to, but where is the real scientific discussion? Where is real feedback? There is a chance that you don't get one. Here is another nice photo of this poster hall. You can see that people are doing different types of stuff. People eating, walking, working with their laptops, preparing for something, presenting posters. I mean, this was a complete chaos, and I was a little bit disappointed by this session. Actually, based on this picture, let me show you the problem of poster sessions. Imagine that you are standing here where this picture is taken from, and you want to talk about this poster with these guys, and you can't get there. So you see there are too many people. So how can you get there? You need to somehow shoulder them. It's difficult to do this. It's unpolite. So probably you will have to stand somewhere here and wait for these guys to finish their discussion, to approach the author and ask some questions. And you are standing there for 5 minutes, but then maybe you meet a colleague or someone else, or maybe you see another poster. So you think, okay, I walk away, I will come back in 10 minutes and discuss this poster. Then you come back in 10 minutes and you see that the presenter is busy again. So basically you will never discuss this poster, and you will need to hunt this person later to ask your questions. And that's why I believe that overcrowded poster sessions are not effective. Here I found one photo of me presenting in front of my poster. Maybe I look happy on this photo, but again, it was very noisy and I don't remember any discussion that followed my presentation. So yeah, I don't think I got any feedback. And by the way, we can see some hands here with a notebook on the left. And I remember that that was person with a timer tracking my presentation and then ticking that yes, Andrey participated in the conference, so my paper will be published. Of course, I visited some other oral presentation sessions as well, and I would say that oral sessions are much better than poster sessions. Here is an example of how an oral session looked like. This is a photo of my friend presenting his research. Overall, the session looked like a classroom with a projector, and everyone was given 15 minutes to talk, and then 2-3 minutes for questions and answers. But still, I believe that that was not enough. I mean, there was no deep scientific discussion. If you try to ask too many questions to a person, the session chief will stop you and say something like, okay, you can discuss this after the session, so we move to the next speaker. And this is what I don't really like about modern conferences, that there is no time to discuss anything. Specifically, there is no mechanism to critique, to challenge works of others. I mean, no one wants to be a toxic, negative guy saying loudly something like, hey, you have a mistake in your paper. This is the place with the mistake. You cannot publish it like this. You need to revise it. No one says this. And I think you are not even allowed to do this. You are only allowed to applaud and ask questions. So if your paper is accepted, but still there is some nonsense or, let's say, mistakes in your paper, no one can challenge this. And this is I think this is a fundamental problem to academic conferences. So if you present a good work, people will ask questions and they will say, great. If you present a poor work, you will get no questions and you will be simply unnoticed. So yeah, this is the worst thing that can happen. You get no questions, no feedback, and that's it. One more thing that I want to say about the limited impact problem is that many attendees do not really listen to the presentations of others. And you may think like, how is this possible? You travel to a conference to listen to others and present your work. But yet I see that people are attending sessions, but they open their laptops and they're working or doing something else. And to prove you this, I want to show you some photos from the recent conference I attended this summer, PCC conference in France. So let me show you how the sessions looked like and this problem of limited impact and audience attention. This is one of the first sessions during the first day of the conference. You can see there is a big audience. We have a presenter, but please notice that many of the attendees, they are not actually listening, but they are working in their laptops. And the problem is that it's not just a few people doing this. We have dozens of people in their laptops or in their phones. And I just wondered, what are they doing? And I looked in their screens and I noticed that they're replying some emails or they're preparing their own slides. Look, this is a big event, big conference, and many of the attendees have to present soon. So apparently they're sitting in the room and preparing their own slides. But this contradicts to the common sense of a conference where you are supposed to listen to others and actively engage in academic conversations. Here is one more photo from another angle. And again, please notice how many people are actually working in their laptops or in their phones. And here is a picture of me presenting, so you can see me on the stage. One colleague shared this photo with me to show how I looked like, but actually what I noticed when I received this photo is that many people are in their laptops. And the rule is that if you are in your laptop, you are not listening. You cannot do two things at the same time. So we see how people are not really focused on their presenter. As you can see from these photos, this is a big problem. People distracted by their emails, by their laptops, is a great problem for academic sessions because they are not focused, they are not listening, and they are not participating in discussions. So I don't really know what to do about this, because if we forbid bringing your laptops to sessions, people will not come. So maybe they will stay outside because they have to work on something. So I don't know, but this is definitely something to think about for conferences, how they can improve engagement of people and how they can discourage using laptops during academic sessions. One more photo I want to show you here is that sometimes very few people can come to your particular session. And I want to show you one of the last days of this PCC conference and one of the last sessions. Here you can see the audience and the presenter. This is one of the last parallel sessions, and it is quite empty because all other people are in other rooms or they are tired and doing something else. And even in this small session, many people are in their laptops. I believe that this picture illustrates the problem of limited impact. You may travel half the world to present your topic, and then you get quite an empty audience and people not listening. And is this really a research event? Is this really an academic excellence that we are trying to pursue here? To further demonstrate to you the problem of the limited impact, I did some math about the potential number of people listening to your presentation at a conference. Imagine that you are attending a conference with 500 attendees. This is a medium-sized conference. But even in this medium-sized event, it would be impossible for all attendees to listen to all presenters. I mean, it's impossible for all presentations to take place in one single room. Therefore, in this hypothetical conference, there would be several parallel sessions, let's say 5 sessions. And at any given hour, there will be 5 talks at different rooms. Now, imagine that it's Tuesday, 3 p.m., and this is time for you to present your research at room number 4. How many people will listen to your talk? Well, let's note that 5 or 10% of people will not attend any sessions at this given hour because they are tired, because they are hungry, they want to eat, they want to walk somewhere and chat with other colleagues, etc. So we can say that 10% will not attend any sessions. This leaves us with 450 people attending the sessions. Now we split this into 5 parallel sessions and we get 90 people per session on average, so 90 people in your room. And as you saw from my pictures, we can say that 25% of people will not be listening to you. They will be distracted by their laptop, phone, something else. So only remaining 75% of people will listen to you. And this leads us to a number of 67 people that will see you live and will remember you and your presentation. The trick is that in larger conferences with more attendees, the number of people who can potentially listen to you will not increase. If you attend a conference with 2,000 people, great, there will be 20 parallel sessions. Still, there will be like 90 people in your room and 67 people listening to you. So you need to realize that this is the potential impact that you will make, especially as a young researcher, when traveling and presenting at a conference. Let me give you another example. In 2019, I traveled to Seattle, United States, to participate in the conference Informs. That was a huge conference. On their website, I found information that in 2019, the total number of attendees was 7,300 people, which is a huge number. But actually, the rooms were quite compact and small. They rented out the whole conference hall or some conference building with hotel and simply split people into many rooms. So let me show you the pictures of these rooms. Here you can see how my room looks like. There is one projector and you can see the chairs. This is before the session, so people are just preparing, but you can see the size of the room. If I'm not mistaken, I believe there were like 40 people in my room, maybe 50, but definitely I didn't present to thousands of people in this conference. And here is a picture of me standing in front of the projector and presenting my work. Yes, that definitely was a great experience for me, but what is the outcome or impact of that particular presentation? I still don't know. I believe that this should be changed. We need more challenging conferences with fewer speakers, but those speakers must be excellently prepared and they should talk to a larger audience, leading to some deep academic discussions. And the audience should be able to criticize and rank their work. There is a need to bring back some live and academic battles, research battles to academic conferences. I understand that it's impossible to make a large academic conference where everyone will speak for 30 minutes plus questions and answers. But if fantasizing about this, I would suggest that in every conference we make at least one special event that we can call Research Challenge or Research Show. And for this event, only the best papers, only the best authors will be selected, let's say 10 people. And then those 10 people, they should compete, they should present their work, again, for 20-30 minutes. They should get challenging questions from the audience. And let's make it something like a show, like America's Got Talent, with a panel hitting these buttons, rejecting people. And let the authors compete and let them defend their work. And they would do this for some special prize. So maybe they get a certificate or some money, like $2,000–3,000. I believe that would be a great event, and we can also stream it on YouTube to get more attention to the conference. And yeah, this will be at least some challenging scientific discussion. Not only these selected people will be motivated, I believe that all the authors will be motivated to do their best so that they have chance to get to this special show and win money and win a special certificate. By the way, regarding the YouTube streaming idea, very few conferences actually record and publish their presentations and talks of their speakers, and they don't want to do that. Why should they spend time on camera team making all of these recordings and making them free to the general public? I think this is one of the problems with the limited impact, that you go to a conference, you present there, and then people will eventually forget your speech and your slides, and we need to change that. I have also heard the opinion from some scientists that conferences are an old-fashioned way of looking at academic interactions. Look, 100 years ago, attending an academic conference could be an unbelievable event for you, leading to some amazing collaborations and new discoveries. In 1927, Albert Einstein attended the Solvay Conference of Physics. In total, there were 29 attendees gathering together to discuss the newly formulated quantum theory. Imagine you are a researcher in 1927. Maybe traveling to Solvay was the only chance for you to meet Einstein and talk to him. Nowadays, we have the internet and LinkedIn. If you want to talk to Professor Jones, you don't need to travel to another country. You can just write a professional email explaining your tasks and problems. So conferences are not serving anymore as the primal tool for finding information about people, finding information about others' work and connecting to people. Yet we spend a lot of time, money and CO2 emissions to attend them. Now, what to do about this problem? We have discussed that there is a chance that your presentation will not make impact at a particular conference. If you are not happy with this and you want to make an impact, you have to do some extra job. Here are some of my recommendations about how you can increase the impact of your presentation. The first advice is very obvious, but yet some people miss it. It is to prepare a great speech and very effective slides. I mean, you need to grab the audience attention. Imagine that people are sitting in the room, they have listened today for 20 talks and they are very tired. So why should they focus to listen to your presentation? You should explain this from the very beginning. Don't simply start your presentation with words like, hi, my name is Andrey, I'm from Imperial, and this is the title of my presentation, so let's begin. People are not focusing on presentations like this. Instead, from the very beginning, you should grab audience attention with some question, I don't know, some joke, or something important to them. For example, you can say that you know that many people in this room working on this problem and on this modeling. You are also working on this problem, but today you want to show them a new perspective of this problem and some new results. So try to explain to them why this talk would be interesting to the audience. Also, you can say directly that today from this presentation, you will learn something. You will learn this method. So please focus in the next 15 minutes, you will learn this method that we applied to this new problem. And then there is a chance that the audience will think, oh, great, there is something useful actually coming up in this presentation, so let's pay attention. This is a very basic advice, but it really helps you to get more people in the room listening to your presentation carefully. The second advice that I want to tell you is not to be afraid to talk to the conference organizers, especially if something goes wrong. And for example, this may happen that your presentation will be put in a session somewhere, like on the last day of the conference, Friday evening, and you are traveling, so it's difficult for you to present there, plus you know that this is the last day. You can complain about this, you can say that you can present only on Tuesday and Wednesday, so please shift my presentation. Don't be afraid to talk about this, adjust your time and session if possible, and this can also help you to increase the impact of your presentation. Imagine you delivered a great presentation. Can you improve its impact further? Yes, you can. You can save your slides in high quality with some additional annotations and explanations. You save these files as PDFs and you can upload them to some repositories. For example, I see many researchers uploading their slides on ResearchGate. And in this manner, your slides will be alive forever and people have chance to find your work and again to talk to you if they are interested. So my point here is to make your slides published and to make them alive. You can also publish some of your slides and some of your results as short articles on LinkedIn or on your website. Let me show you an example of what I did after that Seattle Informs conference. This is my website where I have a blog about conferences and travel, and this is an article about Informs annual meeting 2019 in Seattle. I describe various things here about my travel, my trip, how I tried a real Starbucks coffee, etc. But here in the middle of the article, you can see a picture of me and I'm showing my slides explaining that this is the model that we did and here are the results and why they are important. And this article with the slides is available online and anyone searching for this particular model can find it and then they can realize that I'm actually working on this topic. So these slides, they haven't disappeared completely. As you can see from my points, the main goal of these actions is to make your presentation permanent. People will eventually forget your speech and your slides, so we need to make them alive on the internet. Then there is one more extra effort step to record and publish your presentation. I mean to record a video. Whenever I go to an important conference, I take with me this portable tripod stick. It opens like this, so I can put my camera on the stick, my phone, and record my presentation. And then I can edit the video and publish it, say, on YouTube. The problem here is that if you simply record with your phone, the sound will be bad for a YouTube video. So you will need also to buy a mic like this and connect it to some recording device. But if you spend this extra effort, the results can be rewarding, because I have cases where people approached me, emailed me, because they saw my presentations published on YouTube, and now they have a chance to discover that I'm working on this topic. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is the photo we already discussed from the conference. You can see me talking on the stage. The quality of the photo is not great, but here you can actually see my tripod and my phone filming me. And here is how the final video looks on YouTube. So you can see what my phone saw. I'm walking on the stage talking. The quality is all right, I would say. And then the slides appear, but I don't want to keep me on the full screen. So I crop myself like this. And you can see I'm now taking quite a small space, and anything else are the slides. I think the video looks professional, but what I actually did, I simply recorded myself, recorded the audio, and then did some editing so you can see me plus the slides. And now this video is available online, and people can watch it and see what my speech was about. To sum up, my main advice would be for you to be in a mindset where you are thinking how to maximize the impact of your slides, of your presentation. We discussed publishing your slides, publishing some articles, recording videos, and I want you to realize that no one will do this for you. I mean, conference will not do this, your department, your colleagues will not do this, and if you are also not doing this, then no one will see your speech and your slides. So please keep this in mind, and if you really want to increase the impact of your presentations, start doing these extra steps, extra efforts to publish your slides and publish your additional thoughts or materials about your presentation at an academic conference. The next problem of academic conferences that I want to discuss today is the problem with content. In short, content at academic conferences can be overwhelming, boring, or repetitive. As we discussed, large conferences have many parallel sessions, usually from morning, like 9 a.m., till evening, 5 p.m. So there are a lot of presentations going on through each day, and it's almost physically impossible for you to listen to all these presentations, and you will miss some of the valuable talks anyway. And overall, it can be exhausting for you to attend so many talks and try to focus on so much information being presented through the conference. For example, let's consider my recent conference in France, PCC. At the beginning, I was very enthusiastic and I wanted to attend many sessions, but then I got really tired. I think in total, over the 5 days of the conference, I listened to 30 or maybe 40 presentations, and that was really mentally draining for me. I felt that I'm super tired, and I was discussing this with some of my colleagues, and we discussed that, yeah, indeed, this experience was quite exhausting. So I don't think that attending many sessions from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. Is only my problem. I think this is difficult for most of academics. There also exists a problem with repetitive content. I mean, you are attending a very niche session about some problems in your field. And of course, you may expect that all people from different groups, they are doing roughly the same thing, and they will be presenting very similar findings. And sometimes these can be interesting, but again, this type of content can be overwhelming. Last conference, a very trending topic was machine learning for power systems. And I listened to some of the talks. At the beginning, this was interesting that people apply neural networks to power flow simulations, etc. But then when you sit the whole day and you listen to, presentation number 20 about neural networks for power flow, you become quite tired and you are not enjoying the process so much. So what to do about this problem of repetitive content at academic conferences? My advice here would be to find your own pace for attending sessions. Examine the conference program carefully, select the talks you absolutely must go to, and then attend them. Anything else would be chaotic. Maybe you will have time and energy to attend more sessions, maybe not. So don't forget to give yourself some rest. Walk around the venue, drink some coffee with your colleagues. Remember that you cannot physically attend all possible presentations and talks. Actually, you probably cannot even attend 30% of them. So why should you struggle to reach your limit? Just try to get some rest and enjoy the process and the event. The next problem of academic conferences that I want to discuss today is time and cost. Look, attending conferences is a very time-consuming and expensive activity. Again, let's consider my recent example of traveling to France for this PCC event. I visited France for 5 days, and to visit this I needed to apply for the conference in advance, and I also needed to get a Schengen visa. So I want to show you how much money I actually spent to do this. First, I want to show you the receipt that I paid the conference fee. You can see that this is PCC conference held in Paris-Saclay, France, and in total I paid 750 euros to attend the event. Of course, this was paid not by me personally, but by my department. But anyway, you can see the range of values, how much you can pay to participate in a conference. But this is just a registration fee. Then you need to travel to the venue. And here is the confirmation of my booking. I was flying with an economy flight from UK to Paris and living in quite affordable 3-star hotel. And you can see the total cost here of £482. Plus, I needed to apply for a Schengen visa, and in the visa center I paid around 240 euros. So if we sum up all of these costs, the total cost of my trip to France was 1,570 euros. And that was a very easy trip. I mean, the flight is just like 1 hour 20 minutes. Some other colleagues are traveling from very distant places. For example, I have met colleagues from Australia or Chile. You can imagine how much they paid to get to such European conferences. I have heard that some universities are paying 3,000 or even 4,000 euros per person to attend international conferences, which is a huge sum of money. And I believe that as a research community, we need to make sure that this effort and this money is spent effectively. Now, what to do about time and cost of academic conferences? Well, as a student or young researcher, you can't do much about this. But at least you need to understand that conferences are very expensive and that you need some financial backup from your department. Usually this means that your professor, your manager, should have enough money in their research project. Also, I want to mention that planning in advance helps a lot. If you want to participate in a conference, try to get money as early as possible and try to book your flight and accommodation. Because believe me, if you want to plan your trip to a conference the last week, this could cost you astronomically large sums of money. So please plan your trips in advance. The next point that I want to discuss is the problem of responsibility and sustainability of academic conferences. We have just discussed that universities pay a lot for their researchers to travel abroad. But what about academic conferences? What are they doing to reduce these traveling costs and related CO2 emissions? And unfortunately, the answer is that conferences are not doing much about this problem. I have just quickly Googled that one flight from London to New York causes up to 600 kilograms of CO2 emissions per passenger. This means that my conference trip to Seattle in 2019, the back and forth trip, caused more than 1 ton of CO2 emissions, which is really a lot. And you can imagine that we have hundreds of thousands academics like me traveling every year to attend conferences in distant places, and all of these causes a lot of CO2 emissions and a lot of traveling problems. Unfortunately, some conferences don't care about this impact. And not only they don't care, we have some cases of hypocrisy in academic conferences. For example, there are some conferences about renewable energy or sustainability or net zero emissions, and such conferences sometimes take place in places like Hawaii or Maldives. And I mean, how do you expect people to travel to Maldives to discuss CO2 emissions reduction? And Maldives are so far away. Sorry, but do you know where Maldives are? Try to find them on the map. They are so distant from all major cities. Maybe they are close to India. But if you ask academics to travel to Maldives from Europe or United States, this is simply a CO2 emissions crime. And of course, such cases should be constrained, and we should not spend so much resources to travel to distant places to attend some academic conferences. Actually, I have some emails saved about this Maldives conference case, and I want to show this to you. As an active academic, I am getting emails with invitations to participate in many conferences, and some time ago I got this invitation to travel to Mail City, Maldives. So you can see I actually have many emails like this in my mailbox, and this is one of the first ones saying that this is a global conference on renewable energy and hydrogen technologies taking place in Mail City, Maldives. By the way, the website of this conference is not working. I don't know why. In other emails, I even got some official emails from IEEE. Let me find this. Yes, here is the official invitation from IEEE that this is the sponsored conference on renewable energy taking place in Maldives. And I think that something is wrong about this approach, that we should meet so far away in such distant places. I have another example for you. This year I was getting similar invitations from a conference in Pattaya, Thailand. And not only they are calling this conference International Conference on Sustainable Energy, but they are highlighting that the venue is Long Beach Garden Hotel, Pattaya City, Thailand. By the way, we can open the website of the conference to see what is happening there, and you can see that the main thing they are showing are these nice beaches in Pattaya. And you can see the venue. So what is the venue? What are they saying about the venue? And they show these nice pictures of this aqua park. I mean, is this an academic conference or not? Why should we care about aqua parks located in Pattaya Beach Hotel? So what to do about this problem? I believe that conferences must be more socially responsible and more sustainable. Plus, there is a need for additional regulation both from governments and from the research community. As individual researchers, we can also impact this. We need to discuss the problem of CO2 emissions openly with our teams and our colleagues, and we need to optimize our traveling plans. I have an example for you actually from my project here in Imperial. You see, we're working with colleagues from Johns Hopkins University in the US, and recently there was a discussion that we should travel to US in the next year, in 2025. And there was an idea that maybe we have two events in the US. This would mean that people from my team here at Imperial would need to make 2 transatlantic trips next year, which is really a lot and which is really carbon intensive. And that's why during one of the meetings, the project leader said that that's too much and we cannot afford that. And we discussed that we need to optimize meetings, and maybe we will have 1 meeting in the US maximum, and anything else should be hybrid or in some other countries. And this is how projects, research projects and research conferences should be optimized. I also heard about the idea of creating conference hubs. Imagine a large conference with thousands of attendees. Then the conference can be split into 2 parts. So this is, let's say, one part of the conference for South and North America in this city, and for Europe and other countries there will be hub number 2 in some other place, again to optimize traveling costs and CO2 emissions. There are also ideas of making hybrid conferences where you will be allowed to record your presentation or to speak via Zoom and not attend some distant places if you live far away. But of course, conferences don't quite like these ideas. They like people paying the full conference fees, and they like people traveling to hotels, to the venues. This discussion actually brings me to the next point, which is the fact that many conferences are for-profit businesses. This means that they are not interested sometimes in the qualities of sessions and in the feedback that you will get and in your research discussions. They are also not interested in optimizing and reducing traveling costs and reducing CO2 emissions. They are not interested in hiring a camera team, recording all videos and publishing them on YouTube. The only thing they care about is getting more revenue and getting more attendees. It is very difficult to change this, but at least people should know about this problem, and we need to talk about it openly. We need to discuss the problems that sometimes interests of attendees and conferences are not matching, and we need to improve this. However, I want to highlight that among all these business nuances of academic conferences, there exists one really serious major problem, and this problem are predatory conferences. Predatory conferences are low-quality events with weak review system or sometimes no review system at all. Such conferences accept anyone for presenting their work, and their main goal is collecting a lot of money from attendees. Good conferences have some reputation and they are afraid of losing it. That's why they don't want to mess up with attendees and they want to keep some quality standards. But predatory conferences are low-quality events with no prestige, and that's why they have nothing to lose, and the only thing they care about is the number of attendees and increasing their revenues. This is actually a very serious problem of academia, and here I would recommend you to read these two articles, two investigations published by Nature. The first article is called "What is it like to attend a predatory conference?" And Nature actually sent a reporter to such an event to find out. I mean, this is a great work and a great discussion. They discuss some horrifying cases of people traveling from Latin America to UK, expecting that there will be a good conference. But it turned out that in reality there was no conference, there was a combination of some strange conferences from different topics, and then the conference ended abruptly and people were very, very disappointed. As you can see here, a Nature reporter attended the event and found it to be shambolic. And this happened in the United Kingdom. So they discuss many aspects in this article: how much people pay, how people got disappointed, why there is a supply and demand for such bad conferences, and some people still go for them just to get additional line on their CV and just one more paper. But all in all, this is a huge problem, a major problem of academia, and especially young researchers should know about it, and they should try to avoid attending predatory conferences. And here is the second article called "How to Spot a Predatory Conference." And this is actually a great article, and I recommend you read it because there are some tips of what to do and how to find if conference is predatory or not. I don't think we should read all the points now, but there are so many good advice, like seeking advice from supervisors and others, doing your research on the internet, trying to find more information about the conference, trying to find some publications from the previous years, etc. This article discusses more real stories. For example, how do you like this story? You see a photo and it is said, at a 2021 ESMED event, one researcher gave a talk to an otherwise empty room. I mean, this is simply horrible and awful if you travel to a conference and then this is kind of a fake conference, there are no people there and you speak to yourself. I also like this section of the article where they discuss the need for institutional action, and they say that in 2019, South Korea's education ministry introduced a new requirement for universities, for academics traveling overseas. And the decision came after a report that 570 professors at 90 universities had participated in conferences that can be called weak. So you see that even some governments care about this problem, seeing hundreds of people traveling to some predatory weak conferences. So overall, the great article, and please check it and see these points, tips, how to avoid predatory conferences. All right, that's about it. We have now discussed the dark side of academic conferences. We have discussed the major problems of conferences and also what to do about them. I really don't like this topic and I don't like these problems. I believe they are damaging careers of young researchers, and we need to talk about this more so all researchers know about the problems, and we need as a community to take more actions to improve the system. Please let me know in the comments if you like the video, and let me know any questions, and also share your experience of visiting academic conferences, if this was a positive experience and you got a lot of benefits, or if you had some negative experience and faced problems of academic conferences. Thank you for watching this video. See you soon. Bye.